to another episode of Bridging the Gap. I'm your host, SET, and thank you for tuning in from wherever you're joining me from. This is a show where I interview artists and creative people in and around creative industries about their journeys, about their crafts. We dive deep into the work, we dive deep into why people have made certain decisions, and really just give these artists a platform to speak in depth about their work. So, thank you again for tuning in. If you're not already following, please follow us on Instagram at bridging_the_gap pod. That's bridging_the_gap pod. And that's the best way to stay up to date with new guests and any other information that I might be sharing with you guys. So, at the end of April, I was in Lagos, went out there for a good friend's wedding, and had a really great time. Just, my time there was fantastic. I saw so many old friends, saw family, spent time with my wife. Like, it was fantastic. And one of the highlights of my time there was being able to go to the Boiler Room/group therapy show. And that was my first experience at a group therapy event. And honestly, it was just an amazing night. Even before we actually went into the venue, I was just seeing so many different people I haven't seen in a long time. The energy was really great. It was just, everyone's out ready to have a good time, ready to hear some great music. And I was really looking forward to hearing the DJ lineup as well. And I had the opportunity to hear Aniko spin that night, and she was amazing. She had the crowd in the palm of her hand. She just got up on stage and really set the tone and took us on a sonic journey through house and Afro house. And for those who don't know, Aniko is a house/electronic/techno DJ who is the founder, also known as the chief minister of Group Therapy, which is a collective/community space/let's say seasonal party where people can come together and hear these genres which are not traditionally mainstream in Lagos. And it's a platform for DJs and lovers of those sounds to come together and really just celebrate amazing music, celebrate each other's gifts and talents, and just come together in a space where everyone can be free. And Group Therapy, they're turning 2 in August, but they've already made a real splash in the music world. They've partnered with Boiler Room, they've partnered with Keep Hush, they've partnered with Homecoming. They've flown in international DJs. Some of the DJs have gone to perform at shows outside the country as well. So they're definitely becoming a real player in the electronic and house music space. And they're becoming instrumental in making sure that Lagos is a hub for those particular sounds. So, yeah, in this episode, Aniko and I sat down and we went into the origin of her love for electronic and house music. We went into the origin of group therapy, her philosophy with building up group therapy, and how she also sees the role of group therapy evolving in African music and in the African music ecosystem. So I want to say a big thank you to Aniko for coming on the show and just being gracious with her time and her answers. This is an episode that I had a lot of fun recording. I hope that it will be informative and eye-opening for people, especially for lovers of electronic music, lovers of house music, and people that are hoping to see Lagos and Nigeria become a major hub for those sounds and genres. So, yeah. That's what we covered in this episode, and I'm not going to take too much more of your time. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, let's bridge the gap with Aniko. All right, and we're back with another episode of Bridging the Gap. I'm really excited for my guest today because I'm joined by definitely one of the sickest DJs out of Lagos. She's a community builder. She's really pushing the envelope of electronic African music and really turning Lagos into a hub for that sound. So I'm super excited to be joined today by Aniko. And yeah, thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I've seen a few episodes, so yeah, I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for the support of the show too. Definitely appreciate that. Um, yeah, I saw you spin in Lagos last month, and it was the first time, and it was a real experience. And I was like, yeah, we just need to talk because the whole experience I had that night, you've really started to build something special in Lagos for sure. So we're gonna talk about that later. But I read that your love for electronic music came during a front end developer internship, and I was like, that's a good starting point, maybe. How did that like catalyze your love for electronic music?
So during that internship, I kind of started DJing, but I was just doing the regular stuff, the normal Apple Music shit. Um, and it was cool, but I was bored. And like it was like the internship was actually like a time where I actually like I had time to like explore things. And like during while if I'm coding, for example, I need things to keep me concentrated for a while. So um over time I just started like tuning into a bunch of you know mixes on YouTube and stuff. And they're very long, so they could keep you like in the zone for quite a bit. But yeah, I started like really studying the music then. Yeah. Well, that's how it started. So yeah, I was kind of just bored with the normal stuff, and then at some point I stopped DJing because I was just no, I wouldn't say bored, but it was just not fulfilling for me at the time. Yeah.
So when you started getting into the electronic sound, and I'm guessing that's what started to reinvigorate your love for DJing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, it started from like, I had to look at the biggest DJs in the world, and they are all playing, electronic music or some form of electronic music, really. Doesn't really matter if it's piano or like deep house or Afro house or big room or progressive, or even drum and bass. They were all just like producing their own music, their own electronic music. And when I started like delving into electronic music, it became clear to me how like the genre was really just a genre for DJs and for producers to just, be their own artists instead of just being DJs, for example. So that was where the love really like I was hooked from there, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to DJ, this is how I should do it. And at the time in Lagos, it was uh it was just not the place for it. The only place you could DJ was a club or something like that. So yeah.
I think that's really interesting, first of all, that you looked at the biggest DJs in the world because it's true. If you really look at like who the biggest DJs are that do those crazy
Yeah.
shows with hundreds of thousands of people, they're doing
Mhm.
electronic music, they're fusing all these sounds, they're
Yeah.
producing their own music, but that's true. And it's funny that you also mentioned kind of the difficulty of trying to DJ in Lagos at the time, because that's something I wanted to ask you about as you're trying to put yourself out there as a DJ, but this is the music that you're playing. What kind of pushback, I guess, were you getting initially?
Initially, like I said before, like there weren't really places you could like experiment and like maybe divert from the usual sound. So yeah, initially I was just playing Afrobeat, and my issue with the Afrobeat was we you could have like 10 DJs on the lineup, and it's just all of us are just like waiting for the next DJ, and everybody's like cycling through the same songs, you know. So earlier, like maybe like 2018, I discovered Element House. My friend Rakim was just like, you should come to this thing. I was like, ah, bet. Sure. I entered, like I walked in there like, what the hell is going on here? Like I was, you see, and the thing is, Element House wasn't even big that time. It was just a few people, honestly. But my mind was blown. I was like, bro, I've been looking for a place to just come and like play my own shit or play anything. Nobody is coming to disturb you or play this, play that. No requests, no boundaries, no nothing. So yeah, and I was only there for like an hour before I left. So but it stuck with me because like I just kept thinking about the night. And I just kept thinking about how there was literally one DJ on the stage and everybody was just here. It was just you, the DJ, and everyone else around. And club culture or nightlife in Lagos, I would say, is not very respectful of DJs. So
Mm,
uh, yeah, it's not very, respectful of DJs. DJ booths are usually like in one corner where you can't see them, and like I had to just like it wasn't even a thing of where I was trying to play the music in places I couldn't. I was just not playing it. I just decided to stop and say, okay, I want to transition into something else. So I mean, Ellen House had a lot of like bookings and stuff. They had a lot of people reaching out to them like, yo, I need to play, I need to play. So like my eyes weren't really set on there at all. It was just more about finding somewhere to play. So I wasn't like, let me say I wasn't DJing because of like I wasn't like happy with the environment I was DJing until um I went to this thing called Activity Fest, and it was just it was like there was like 10 people inside, and one girl was like, "Oh, I know you're Aniko," and she was like, "Oh, do you DJ?" I said, "Yeah, I DJ." And she said, "What do you play?" I said, "I play house music." She said, "Oh, really? That's what we're looking for here." So I'm like, "Okay, yeah, yeah. Call me or hit me up for the next one." And from there, the next gig came and the next gig and the next gig. So really it was very the momentum was very slow at first, but then they started picking up right yeah, it started picking up basically. I'll just say that.
okay. I think that's like that's a natural progression. And I definitely can understand because, like you said, the culture, like the nightlife culture, it can be definitely disrespectful of DJs where I think it's easy almost to take DJs for granted in a place like Lagos because most people are going out to hear like Afrobeats and stuff. So it's pretty easy to find a DJ that's going to be able to string together the hits and things like that. And people can take them for granted. But as I guess the common thing I'm getting is you're just looking for a space where the music you enjoy can be accepted and you can really like experiment with your sound as well. So I think that probably leads into group therapy. And I guess for those who don't know, group therapy, I would describe it as it's like a community space slash rave slash party slash I don't know, sound lab almost, where people that love electronic music and Afro house and all these other different genres can
Yeah.
come together and really enjoy the music. So, what was your initial vision when kind of even developing that concept as you're looking for a space to play your music?
So I think after I played Activity Fest, I was like the first electronic thing I played. Um, I reached out to Ubuntu. He's the founder of Sweat It Out. And they had me once and then again and then again and then again. And I kind of liked the like I don't know if you've ever been to a Sweat It Out before, but it gave the feeling of when you're entering like a London underground club. And I was very much influenced by how the stage revolved around the DJ, but it was still about the community. Like everyone really just wanted to be there for the community. And that was one thing that stuck with me when I was trying to like make group therapy, for example. And the concept of group therapy had always been in my head since my internship. But it was very like far-fetched, like, oh, literally, it's just in my head, it was just, oh, I just want a party. I can play my music, period. But praising group therapy came out of I would say the need for more from the industry in Lagos, the nightlife in Lagos. I had gotten to a place where the Element House that I was just talking about, I had played it. So like I played basically everywhere I had dreamt of playing, and nothing was, it wasn't satisfactory enough for me. So um also coupled with the fact that most of these houses are owned by men, Element House, Sweated Out, Monochroma, most of them were owned by men, and I don't know, well, you're not a female artist, but there's a certain, I don't, maybe it's just me, but I don't like asking people for things. I don't, in addition to the fact that I don't like asking men for things. So I knew that I was a very special talent, and I will say that because everywhere I went, I knew the value I was bringing to them. Like, if Element House called me, I knew why they were calling me. If Sweat called me, I knew why they were calling me. And the only logical thing for me to do was just take what's like what that special thing they're calling me for is and just use it to build my own stage. Because in my head, I was just like, man, if these guys can do it, what's stopping me from doing it? Because I just can't keep bringing crowd for these guys. So yeah, um, I was like, okay, uh, I kind of had like a vision of from the start of what I wanted it to look like. So like I had a plan 2 years ahead because I had been planning like 2 years ahead of the first group therapy. Like, how much is this venue? How much is a sound system that actually understands electronic music, not just get a few speakers and call it a day. Like, it took me like a year to find a sound engineer that knew what the sound needed for it to translate. And a lot of sound people think, oh, you need this loud sound, but really what you need is clear sound, crisp sound. So like building group therapy was years of like ideas just coming together. And there was a month where my friend, she came to me and she was like, oh, she wants to throw a rave and she wants to call it 7 days to hell because of it was 7 days to the election.
No.
So yeah. She said, oh, I want to throw a rave 7 days to the election and call it 7 days to hell. And I was like, oh, okay. That'll be fine. I'm down. I mean, I'm just here to like, you know, play. And she was like, oh, can you help me do this thing? I was like, yeah, for sure. It didn't end up happening, Sha, but like things, scheduling and things like that. But at the end of the day, in my head, I was just like, well, I still want to do this rave. I have an idea. Um, and the term group therapy came to me from my friend who was my friend like she went to school in New York or something like that, and she was blabbing to me about how she went to group therapy once and like people have problems. Like it was kind of more of an argument between us than well, like thinking of a party name, but it stuck with me from there. And um I was like, okay, scrap this 7 days to hell stuff. Let's call it group therapy. Um, you know, what we need is just to make it unique and like just make it appeal to the youth. Concept of group therapy is really open dance floor. There's no tables. There's no bottles. There's no that that barrier that exists in clubs. I just try to
Yeah.
take it from the whole experience. Like, okay, let's scrap all these things and just give them a ticket. So the first one was free and like it went a bit too well than I expected. And from there it was just the numbers kept doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. So yeah, like I will say from the start, I knew that it was going to like be a big thing. I just didn't know how fast it was going to get here. So yeah.
And this all happened in like the past, what, 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, group therapy is gonna be 2 in August. So yeah, two
That's crazy.
years. Yeah, yeah. Well, like that's short, I will say.
No, no, I mean it's definitely a quick rise for all that you've already been able to accomplish. And like I was saying, I went for the show that you guys do at the Boiler Room. And what really stood out to me before I even actually stepped foot inside the venue was how many different types of people were there. And I was seeing so many people that I haven't seen in a long time. I was seeing people I hadn't seen since like secondary school, like people over 10 plus years. And also people that maybe normally you wouldn't expect to see at a rave, but it was just cool to see how you brought so many different people together under one roof, and everyone's just there to enjoy the music and have a great time. And like you said, no tables, no bottle service, no bullshit. Just go there, vibe with your people, have a good time. And I'm really curious as to how you've been able to really create that type of environment where everyone feels welcome.
Hmm. I mean, it's in the name, um, like from the name itself, it was really a no-brainer for the space to just be somewhere everyone could go to. Um, but I've like grown. I've lived in Lagos all my life. I've been a fan of many people. I've seen many cultures. I've stunned so many people. So I've seen different cultures and like types of music and types of people. And that has I didn't mention this earlier, but I used to be tennis DJ. So that part of my life, I met a lot of people. I met a lot of people, you know, because of like let me just say because I was like much more of a music enthusiast. And I used to like I'm a very big fan of live music. Like live concert. I will go to anything. Anything. Like so I met a lot of people from different backgrounds. And when it came time for me to do this thing, it was just like, okay, how am I going to bring all my friends, all the people I know, like irrespective of like the kind of people they are. Like I can't say, oh, you can't come. You can't screen people for anything. But you know that thing when you're like when you do a birthday and there's this like there's certain people from a part of your life, and then there's a different set of people from
Yeah.
another part of your life. And they don't really mix together. So yeah, it was really that kind of well, I was like, okay, I'm inviting everybody, everybody. So and before like from the first one, I gave everyone a like, okay, see, if you're coming here, like whatever you see, just be cool. This is normal everywhere else. Like this is how people respond. This is how the music like came to be everywhere else. So like it took a little bit of education, and I will even say, like I have to give props to um Sweat It Out because they did a very good job of appealing to very niche communities, but still keeping that unity together. So yeah, it was really a thing of, and I was very mindful of the space that you know I was creating. I was very mindful of the circles that I had been in before. So from right from the first one, we were very intentional about like every detail, like down to the lighting even, it's deliberate. Yeah.
No, that's like it's great to hear that breakdown and just get a better sense of how you've approached everything. And I think like the birthday thing, like you said, that's a great comparison because I know
Mhm.
exactly what you mean where you're bringing people different from different parts of your life into one space and you have to kind of be the common denominator and figure out a way for everyone to mesh. So yeah, I mean, being able to see it in person, it was great, and the experience of the whole night was really great. I mean, the DJs that you guys put on the stage as well. But I'm also curious about, I guess, some of the challenges you might have faced in the early stages because I know, like, maybe, for example, with venues, it might be hard to book certain venues because they're like, oh, we don't want, all these young people in here doing whatever and things like
Mhm.
that. Did you ever face anything like that in the early days of just getting things off the ground?
When you say early days, we got that like 2 months ago. We got that like 2 months ago. So I mean it's still something we face till today. But I mean it's we've got like the first year we just got like, some straight up no, we don't do that here. Like we only had like a handful, only maybe two venues that you would typically throw a river. There was a venue we once used, and then they were just like, please don't come back here. Like, they were just like, no. They were just like, they didn't even care how much money, like they were just like, no, no.
Yeah.
Um, We've had another venue say that to us as well. But then those ones actually came back and they were like, oh, we're looking for booking. So progress, but I don't know. We'll see. Well, yeah, we do face those situations a lot. We have, issues hiring people to like common stuff, security, bartenders, sound people, like so it's taken a while for us to get here, but now we have our people, we have like an ecosystem of creatives we trust to do all the things we need to do. So now it's much more easier than before.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's you guys are still in the early days of everything, but it's good that you're building that ecosystem, and it's only, I guess, going to grow and get stronger as you keep putting on more events and getting more experience. So I want to talk about actual DJing for a minute because, like you said, you're a very special talent, and the set that I heard you put on was fire. Like you controlled the crowd, and I think that's probably one of the coolest things about DJing to me, where you have the ability to control what people are feeling in the moment and really set the tone for like the type of night someone is having or someone's going to have. And I'm curious, like when you're DJing, how much of your set is preconceived versus you just responding to what the crowd is giving you in the moment?
I would say 70% of my set is me responding to the crowd. But there's that 30% where maybe like an hour before the show, I could just go through my library and see, because there's songs for different places. And, if I'm booked for a specific kind of stage, I have to think, well, what are these people gonna like? And, there's that 1 hour before my set, I could put together, prepare like a few songs. I won't follow it strictly, but just a few songs that would guide me and just keep me in, a lane that every one time, playing to would be very much comfortable in. So, but yeah, most of it is just, it's give and take DJing, honestly. It's like, yeah, very much feeding off how people are reacting. So it's just based on, reading people.
Do you have a favorite part of DJing? Like, is there something that really gets you excited about the actual act?
There are songs I'm excited to play. Um, there's songs I make that I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait to play this. Like, so honestly, it's not even in the DJing, it's in like in the prep, or when I'm in the studio, for example, like I'm I create music for sets right now at the moment. That's what I'm doing. So the enjoyable part of DJing is because there'll be times when I prepare a song and honestly, I just want to start with that song and like just this is what I want you guys to hear. But then I have to act all mellow and give them a few jams before I start getting into what I really want to give them. And when you finally see the reaction, it's just like, oh damn, yeah, 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 good man, yeah, good. So yeah. So I mean I always go prepared for all my sets. So like I definitely feeding off the crowd. There's I usually like to have, for example, I usually like to have a um I have like mellow moments. People tell me that this, I didn't know this about it, but like tell me that there's a point during my set that I just play some heartfelt, emotional song and everyone is like crying and blah blah blah. And then I pick it back up and take them back to okay, let's get back to dancing. And I I like to hear things like that. And people tell me that these days that oh, I know when you're playing to yeah, I enjoy, it's mostly just getting feedback from, the crowd and yeah.
No, that's really cool. I mean, your set does it feels like a journey. And I feel like those are the best types of DJ experiences, at least for me as a listener, where I really feel like I'm being carried along through something. And it's, there's highs and there's lows and there's mellow moments, and then you're taking them back up, like you said. I think it's also very interesting that you said you're making music for your sets. So, how has that experience been like? And then, how much now are your sets starting to be more of just your music?
I mean, yeah, I started out like, 100% none of my music or none of my remixes. But I started producing give it like a year ago. So um when I started producing for my sets, I started producing because at some point, like the music I was playing was not moving me enough. Like I was like, ah, man, this is not good enough. Like the music, some DJs would send me, and I was like, bro, do something else, or I do something to it just to make it, and it kind of just developed into, okay, I'm just going to keep developing and keep tweaking all this music that I'm getting. And before I knew it, I just started making the music. And um like that's where I am right now. Um just trusting my taste, basically. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's awesome. Um, with group therapy as well, it's not just you, you're also curating lineups. And I think that's interesting because on one hand, within Nigeria, like you're in a position to help elevate other DJs that are experimenting with different sounds. But then from an international perspective, you're able to help international DJs get really good audiences to display what they're doing in their countries in Lagos, which, as we know, is definitely one of the big music hubs of the world. So, what approach have you taken to curating lineups? And is there anything that you look to see in a DJ before or when you're booking them?
Um, I identity, um, some DJs are for I like to pick people that, you know, complement maybe if I'm getting a headliner, people that complements the headliner, but also like even me picking a headliner, you know, it's not really that much thought. It's the people that I think about supporting them. Um, like I play every group therapy, yeah, and I would not necessarily pick someone that sounds exactly like me or sounds exactly like, the headliner because, I'm not trying to have one night of the same music or the same genre throughout. So I try as much as possible to just pick from a wide range of genres. Like this next group therapy, I have Jalite and he plays a lot of tech house. So I'm excited for that. The previous one was Colors, we've had Fame. The people that like the music they're producing is it's not even commercial here, it's just good. But it also speaks them. It's not they just have the identity and they have their fan base as well. Um I also, in terms of like internationally, I look for DJs like me in other countries. Um, like DJs, like basically a local DJ in another country that is like doing heavy work and is like basically God over there. But maybe they're not seeing the international bookings. For example, I love a DJ that is ready to just experience a new audience because they come there ready to they're just like, yeah, I'm going to blow these people's minds. You prepare the best sets. So, yeah, they're just more prepared. So I like to, like I like to collaborate with a lot of upcoming DJs in many countries. Last one was Andreas. Andreas is from Namibia. The previous one we had Moon from Ivory Coast. We had Skellum from SA, Chelsea from SA. Like we try to create ties with people in different countries. So we're not just curating for, the locals here. We're also trying to put ourselves and like, bridge that gap from between us and everyone everywhere else, for example. Yeah. So yeah, curating the lineup is just, feeding off the vibe and just making sure everyone complements each other. I get a lot of requests for slots, and all I have to tell people is just don't worry, I'll call you. Like I promise you, this is not the time. Yeah, and I'll just be like, yeah, this is not the time. Like everyone that I've put on the lineup to date, I just like, okay, I'm glad it was now. So yeah, I'm most likely curating for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. And, it's just you, I guess, trusting your sound, like you said, making sure everything complements, thinking about how the whole night is going to go and what type of experience you want the audience to have. And then, yeah, from the international perspective, I really think it's so cool how you're bringing all these different people from different countries and different sounds together and into one space. And you're really, I guess, pushing it's like a cross-cultural effort almost, where they're getting exposed to what's happening in Lagos, and at the same time, everyone in the crowd is getting exposed to what's happening in places like you said, Namibia and Ivory Coast, or like Uganda, South Africa. So, how do you see the role of group therapy evolving in the African music ecosystem?
Um, I will speak from a beacon, a platform for talent here. Like I said, as a stepping stone for talent here to kind of cross over from just being a. Yeah, so I see group therapy as a platform, a stepping stone, I would say, for, a lot of local talent here. And really that's what we're building towards. Like all these people are flying in, booking headliners and stuff, cross cultures and everything. It's all just building a network for, the talent here to be able to see themselves at, a Tomorrowland or a Coachella or something. Because um when I started this journey, like I had to look at if I when I like I said at the beginning, I looked at the biggest DJs in the world, and I looked at the biggest DJs in Nigeria as well. And I had to say, okay, the biggest DJs in Nigeria aren't really, you know, compared to everyone else. The kind of shows even a black coffee is doing in South Africa, or Kabza the Small or DJ Maporisa or something, or Uncle Waffles. And I'm not even talking about on an international landscape. I'm talking like locally in their countries. They could pull thousands and thousands and thousands of people. If they want to do a stadium show, they'll do it. And there's this sense of individuality and respect that DJs are giving everywhere else that I'm trying to apply here. And, I started this, um, I started trying to, I started talking about DJ culture more and being more, um, just mindful and respectful of DJs. Um, So yeah, I looked at all the biggest DJs, like even the biggest Nigerian EDM DJs didn't, may I say, they didn't come up in Nigeria. They always half British or half Canadian or half something. So that was the idea of, for me, like group therapy has to be a thing where you don't have to be half something for you to make it as a global DJ outside Nigeria. So that's just how I'm seeing it from the local perspective. Like I don't think you should have to, you know, be or have like this citizenship thing before you can be, a global act. And you look at SA, they have their industry on lock. And I'm not even talking about anywhere else right now. I'm just talking about AC. They have their industry on lock. They have their their DJs are treated like, celebs, you know, not just, like you're not a an artist backing DJ. You are your own person. That's why you are the one on the stage. You're in the center of the room. That just those little things are the things, the local perspective and just push Nigeria towards better DJ culture is we're changing the culture, we're changing the narrative, and we're pushing the talent out of Lagos.
Now it's a very noble pursuit and one that I definitely think you're on the path to achieving. And I find it interesting that you're making the South Africa comparison because with SA, like you said, the DJs are as big as any artist in the country. And when they do their shows, it's a huge deal. And they do command a lot of respect, like the respect that they have for their DJs and SA is really something special. And I really do want to see Nigeria develop that because we have so much respect for our artists, but we haven't fully gotten there with the DJs yet. And we deserve to because there's so many great DJs in the country that deserve that level of respect and let me say attention and adulation. So I think it's great that you're developing group therapy with that in mind as well because it is a big part of pushing that culture forward. And we do have a lot of talent, and it's going to be very exciting to see how it continues to export and take our music to all the corners of the world.
Yeah.
You guys,
So,
you've partnered with Boiler Room, you've partnered with Homecoming, you've partnered with Keep Hush, and these are global outlets, like really big outlets for music in general. What does it mean for you that, they've seen what you're doing and they don't only identify with it, but they want to actively participate in what you're pushing forward?
um, I mean, it's just the most important thing for me is making Lagos a destination for these shows. Once you see a Boiler Room Lagos and then you see a Key Posh Lagos, all of a sudden doing a show in Lagos isn't that far-fetched. So it's definitely been the like to a very great benefit to us, honestly, that these guys are trying to stay on the cusp of culture. So like I mean it's very important for me, I would say. Make like so because like making Lagos a place where people want to tour, for example, should be a thing. Like if I was an international artist at some point, I want them to be like, oh damn, when am I going to perform in Lagos? So yeah, we're getting there steady.
Yeah, we're definitely getting there. We're definitely getting there. And I love that that's what you're trying to do because I agree. Lagos should definitely be just one of those places you go as a music person, whether you're a DJ, whether you're an artist, because we really do appreciate music. And also Lagos is just one of the most fun cities in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't people still I mean more people are aware now, but they're still not fully hip to what's happening and how
Yeah.
crazy like the nightlife culture can be. You've also been able to DJ in a bunch of venues around the world. So I was just curious, what's the most exciting show that you've done outside of Lagos?
Um, recently Uganda, and Amsterdam. Yeah, Uganda because for them, electronic music is different. It's like what we call fast here is slow for them. So, um, it was a very eye-opening experience for me because I had to study the crowd and like it wasn't one of those gigs where just like, oh, easy peasy. It was one of those, oh, okay, I have to do some research and it paid off. It paid off very well for me because till today they're still asking me, when I coming back. Amsterdam as well. That because honestly, I was just happy to be there. And the crowd was receptive. Amsterdam was much easier because it's like white people. Yeah.
They're just there to rave and have a good time regardless.
Yeah, yeah. They're just there to rave. They're just like there's a difference between playing electronic music to Nigerians or Africans and playing to white people. White people is normal to them. It's
Yeah,
it's music. Yeah, yeah. But for Lagosians, you have to put small Afro beats inside. You have to capture their attention. It's much more technical. So Amsterdam was just smooth sailing, like, and the crowd is like they are educated. Yeah, yeah. Those two.
it,
I'll give
that's
it
really
to
dope.
them that.
I always ask my guests for advice for the listeners. So my question to you is, what advice could you give for someone who has a particular passion that might not be mainstream, kind of in the way that like electronic music wasn't, but they're still trying to find community or build community. Yeah, what advice do you have for them to work towards establishing that?
Um, I don't know if this is okay to say, but I would say, invest in your industry. Like, and like I know you're asking from me, yeah, like an alternative perspective of anyone, regardless of what type of music you are doing. Okay, so yeah, if you have like a passion that is not mainstream, invest in making that passion an industry. Um, and I'm not saying like invest like throw money at it. Um, I'm saying find people like find people that are, in that same direction, collaborate, you know, just the more like I don't know creatives, um, I don't know how much creatives know about collaborating, but a lot of a lot of progress just comes from people working together and trying to make you know lemonade out of lemon. And um yeah, you just have to make people like the things you like and bring your fans together, like, collaborate, spread, like, just be be an open book and just find more open books. And yeah, you will eventually you just start seeing more progress as and it gets easier the larger your ecosystem is growing. So yeah,
All right,
and
you heard it.
beats and all that unique stuff and um originality, all that matters as well. People can spot a copycat from a mile away. Nigerians are not that easy to deceive, so well maybe they are. I don't know, but yeah.
No, that's facts. So yeah, invest in your ecosystem and make sure whatever you're doing is so authentic to yourself. Don't try and put yourself out there as something that you're not, but look for ways to really invest in what you love and invest in your passions and look for people who are like-minded and build with them. So yeah, I think that's great advice. So like you said, group therapy is turning two in a few months. What is next up for you personally, and what's next up for group therapy?
Personally, I'm just trying to get the right team, um and just push myself to bigger and bigger stages. I'm actively trying to get music out now. Like I'm actively trying. I wasn't actively trying before, but I'm actively trying now. And in terms of group therapy, you know, we have a London show coming up. We have an essay and a Kenya this year. So that's just like groundwork for like the direction we're heading in terms of group therapy as a global brand. Um, and as we're going to all these countries, we're carrying all these amazing local talents with us because they deserve to see all these bigger stages as well. So yeah, um, basically touring on both sides, Aniko and GT.
Okay, that's fire. I wish you best of luck on the touring. I think it's dope that you're taking the local talents on the road. Very excited for them and very excited for all these global audiences to get a taste of what's happening back home. So yeah, definitely wishing you the best of luck with everything that's coming this year and in the next few years. And yeah, that was my final question. So I gotta say
Yeah,
again, a big thank you for just coming on the show and really breaking things down in terms of how you got your start, how group therapy has started taking off. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys continue to blow up. I think what you're doing is really sick and it's very exciting. And getting to just learn more about your thought process behind it and how you've been approaching everything, I know that it's only going to get bigger and better for you guys. So, yeah, thank you.
thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm honored. I like when people ask me for advice or stuff like that. I don't know, like you're not just like DJing and stuff, or like people asking me to come and teach them how to DJ. I just wanna just talk. But so thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.